feel like the guardian has not done a good job at protecting my mom. As long as she has people around who are yes people, I know that she's not getting the help that she needs or getting better.
I've got so much money. I want it for my son.
Y'all, this is Macy, and it seems like Wendy Williams' health has taken a serious turn for the worse. According to the latest reports, her son Kevin Jr. is heartbroken and speaking out about losing all the support and resources now that his mom's condition has reached a devastating point. They're saying Wendy is now permanently incapacitated, struggling with dementia to the extent that she can't walk, talk, or think clearly. It's being reported that she's just a shadow of the vibrant person she once was. The timing of all this information coming out seems to tie directly to that Lifetime documentary, Where is Wendy Williams?, which aired earlier in 2024. Ever since her talk show was canceled, people have been digging for answers about her life and health, and this documentary has put everything under a spotlight. But let me tell y'all, many believe that the documentary should have never been released. The issues Wendy's dealing with now aren't entirely new. They've been around for a while, but over the last 2 years, her struggles have escalated rapidly, becoming overwhelming, and, for some, uncontrollable. She's reportedly experiencing severe cognitive issues, making everyday tasks nearly impossible. And then, there's this awkward moment from before where Wendy confusedly asked about the Oscars, saying something like, "Oscars? What's the Oscars? Would you want to go to an award show and walk the red?" It's heartbreaking to see how much her clarity has declined, and it's clear this is a deeply challenging time for her family and loved ones. It's heartbreaking to see her struggling to live her life and do the simple things she used to enjoy so easily. That documentary definitely made it clear that Wendy's health is on the decline, but it also revealed something even sadder. Wendy doesn't seem to have anyone genuinely looking out for her best interests. Even her manager was out here claiming she was good and ready to start a podcast when it's obvious she's not in the right condition. It's like they're all seeing her as a payday instead of a person in desperate need of care and support. Wendy doesn't need more people pushing her to perform. She needs people who actually care about her well-being. I want to believe Kevin Jr. genuinely misses his mom because Wendy always loved her son. There's no doubt about that. But without her around, all he's left with is his father, Kevin Sr., who has a reputation for being, let's be honest, less than supportive. He's never been known to put anyone's needs ahead of his own, so it's hard to imagine him stepping up now. Still, some folks aren't buying Kevin Jr.'s sincerity either. They point out that Wendy has been financially supporting him for years, even though he's technically an adult. And let's talk about that $85,000 Wendy reportedly got for her Lifetime documentary. That number doesn't sit right. They can talk all day about Wendy giving her consent, but let's be real. There's no way she willingly signed off on letting them dig into her life and make millions off her name for just $85K. Wendy could make that kind of money in her sleep from reruns of The Wendy Williams Show. It doesn't add up. Something about this whole situation just feels off. Then there's the issue with her legal guardian, Sabrina Morrissey. While a lot of people have criticized Sabrina for controlling Wendy's life, Sabrina recently filed a lawsuit that essentially confirms what many suspected. Wendy was taken advantage of. According to Sabrina, even though Lifetime credited Wendy as an executive producer of the documentary, she didn't have the mental capacity to consent to being filmed. Wendy's diagnosis of early-onset dementia and aphasia should have been enough for everyone involved to realize she wasn't in a position to agree to any of it. Lifetime and everyone close to her knew what was going on. And even if you want to argue they didn't know, all you'd have to do is watch just a few minutes of the documentary to see how vulnerable Wendy is. The whole thing feels like a shameless cash grab. Instead of protecting her, the documentary exploited Wendy during a time when she needed care and privacy more than ever. Sabrina reportedly believed that once Wendy's diagnosis became clear, the project would be shut down immediately. Wendy hadn't signed any contracts, and she wasn't in the right headspace to focus on her career, let alone launch a podcast like some were claiming. Despite this, her publicist, manager, and even her own son participated in the documentary. Many people think they all had a hand in squeezing the last bit of profit out of Wendy's name, and it's sickening to consider. I tried watching the documentary last night, and honestly, some things are just better left unsaid, or in this case, unseen. If the intention was to expose the people around her and what they're doing, Maybe there's some justification, but I have to be honest, it made me so uncomfortable I couldn't finish it. I turned it off halfway through. Part 2 might be airing today, but I don't see why we ever needed to see Wendy like this. It's heartbreaking and unnecessary. In 2022, Wendy reportedly signed over the rights to this Lifetime documentary, but that's the same year Wells Fargo stepped in, claiming she was an incapacitated person. Now you tell me, how does someone legally sign off on a document giving cameras access to their home if they're considered incapacitated in the same year? To sign a legal document like that, you need to be of sound mind. It doesn't add up. Sabrina, her legal guardian, is already suing over this. And honestly, this documentary should have never made it to air. When the legal guardianship was first put in place, some folks thought it might end up like Britney Spears' toxic conservatorship. But based on what's been reported so far, Sabrina seems to be genuinely trying to protect Wendy with this lawsuit. That said, we can never fully know someone's true intentions, so only time will tell if Sabrina is truly acting in Wendy's best interest. Wendy's family, on the other hand, isn't convinced. They believe Wendy should be in their care instead. But let's be real. There's a chance her family might mishandle everything she has left. Her son, Kevin Jr., has been living a lavish lifestyle on Wendy's dime. And while Wendy clearly loves him and wants the best for him, he doesn't seem to understand the responsibility that comes with that privilege. Kevin Jr. has been trying to defend himself against claims that he's been recklessly blowing through his mom's wealth. According to him, everything he spent was with Wendy's full consent. He's said that Wendy has never been a stingy person and has always encouraged him to enjoy life with her money. Kevin explained, "I've always spoken to her about it, and she's always wanted me to spend her money. She'd say, 'I've got so much money, and I want to give some love to my son. It's me and you, kid.'" And sure, that kind of love and generosity from a parent is understandable. But at some point, there's a need for discretion and common sense. Just because Wendy wasn't frugal and wanted her son to live well doesn't mean he should act like the money will last forever, especially now that Wendy can no longer work. Kevin isn't in a position to manage her legacy, and his father, Kevin Sr., has proven time and time again that he's unreliable. He's been called out as a trifling, broke, parasitic cheater who seems unlikely to provide any guidance or support. People have been reacting strongly to Wendy's current situation, with some expressing their heartbreak over what she's going through. One comment said, "Nobody deserves this." This diagnosis is devastating and is practically the end for Wendy. These diseases, like Alzheimer's, cause memory to fade fast, leave the present full of confusion, and make the future a sad and painful way to go. Another wrote, "This is truly heartbreaking. Wendy Williams has always been such a larger-than-life personality, and seeing her face these challenges is incredibly sad." Many have also voiced their anger and disappointment over the Lifetime documentary. One viewer said, "I really did not like that Wendy Williams documentary. It was beyond exploitative and so saddening." Wendy is still Wendy, but sadly, just a shadow of the person she once was. As one fan said, "She's still Wendy, but just the mere vessel of who she used to be. I hope and pray she gets well." It's heartbreaking to see her like this, and it raises a lot of questions about the people around her and the decisions being made in her name. What do you think? Was Wendy's legal guardian right to file that lawsuit, or should her son have full access to her wealth? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.